Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Product Management Learning Series. My name is Shivi. I'm the host for the show, also a product lead at LinkedIn. Please drop in the chat where you're joining us from. We have a lot of very exciting topics to talk about. So, just a couple housekeeping before we start the show. The Product Management Learning Series is a series of live streaming events where industry thought leaders and product practitioners share their PM career journeys as well as lessons learned along the way to inspire current and aspiring product builders like you to level up your product career. And today we're kicking off actually a very, very special series where we feature product builders and practitioners from leading AI and generative AI companies. Please join us as we welcome this new series to explore the challenges and opportunities of this very transformative technology, and then gaining practical insights from real life examples and from those who are leading the charge in the generative AI and AI space. So please make sure you subscribe to the newsletter, which you can find the link in the events details tab, which will recap key takeaways from today's conversation, as well as receive future event updates. Now, without further ado, let me bring up the guest to our screen. Hello, Prashant. Thanks for joining us.
Hey Shivi, thanks for having me.
So
Looks
Prashant
interesting.
is thank you. So Prashant is a seasoned product manager turned entrepreneur, known for his work with high growth startups worldwide. Um, in a moment, Prashant will talk about his journey, transition from PM into, becoming an entrepreneur. But he has a track record of building very successful products and teams. You are now the founder of Zeda.io, a platform designed to empower companies to achieve similar growth success in product management. So without further ado, let's dive in and learn more about your journey as well as how you built Zeda.io.
Thanks Shivi for having me on the show. I've been a great fan of both the newsletter and your content. So looking
Thank
forward
you
to
so
this one.
much. Thank you. So, for folks who are joining us today, please drop in the chat, introduce yourself, where you're joining us from. And if you have any question for Prashant, please also drop them in the comments in the chat. Prashant will respond to them during the show. So, let's get started. Prashant, why don't we start with kind of your original story, right? What inspired you to create Zeta.io? What problem did you see in the market that you were so inspired and motivated to address?
So it's like my own problem which I started with, which was I joined product management and I was like, oh, I'm going to solve problems. But when you start doing product management, you realize all the content which is online is very different from the real world mess which is product management. And most of the people are doing operational work. And there's a very less creative and strategic time available to actually uh, innovate. And I thought it was my problem. I'm doing something wrong. Then I started talking to people in great companies, great positions, and they all said that they are not happy with the way product management is done. It is inefficient, it is operational. There's literally uh, very less innovation happen in product management. And that motivation to make my product management simpler and smarter, to create more impact, to solve more problems, to drive business impact. I needed something. Like I couldn't just rely on Jira, Excel sheet, and meetings. I thought there need to be a better solution. And having worked in product management, I realized that in future, the way products will be built will be different. I was working in AI and product management SaaS. Uh, and I know that, okay, there will be a solution which will make our life better in future, which will use AI to make product management better. I just couldn't wait and wait for the solution. I had to take a leap of faith and decide that, okay, instead of waiting for the solution, I'll start building it. So I just decided mm, to take a leap of faith and start building Zeda.io to make product management simpler and smarter.
That's awesome. I love how basically many of the successful startup we've seen are founders solving their own problem, right? They can dock through, their own product. So share
Yeah.
a little bit about how did you went from this idea that you wanted to improve your process, right? To actually building out the platform. What was the early days look like?
It was, I mean, now we have a team, we have funding, we have customers. But back then it was just me and my co-founder Weber, and we were like, okay, do what do we do? How do we get started? Do we really? How confident we are? And the first step, like every product, is validating your hypothesis, like talking to users. So we just started pinging everyone I know. Product. By that point, I had worked as a product manager for 5 years, 5, 6 years, I think. And I was pinging everyone in my WhatsApp, my LinkedIn, my email. Hey, can I talk to you for 20 minutes? Luckily, people were ready to talk to me. That was one thing. Second, we took the cheapest available domain, Zeda.io, $10. We took a template, which was basically, oh, we are going to change product management. Do you want to join the revolution? Join the waitlist. And we had brief description, uh, which I added. And Weber, my co-founder, he just created a one-page website and uploaded it. And within, I think, 2, 3 weeks, we had like 700 people signed up for waitlist. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then we started with interns, then people found us, uh, people invested in us, we got money, then we started hiring engineer to help us build it. And for the longest time, there was no product. I mean, for 7, 8 months, I remember we were just having a Figma prototype and a PPT because we were just there are so many things which when you start a company which you don't anticipate, like setting up a company, getting the whole lawyer thing, getting the bank account, getting the money transferred, hiring people, making sure their compliances, which was not there. So I was busy taking care of that. Weber was building the product, coding himself. And first 7, 8 months was this only, just talking to people and doing the operational work. And it was amazing.
Wow, that's a great story. I love how you are basically building a landing page to test if the your hypothesis, right, if this idea is going to work. The Wizard of the Odds test. It's good to see in
Yeah.
life, and you're talking about it. And I love the customer focus, the focus on the solving the problem, talking to people, doing the hard work, with the Figma prototype before you even commit to building a code. I think that's number one key lessons for anyone who's dialing in right now, right? This is a
I
good lesson.
I think people focus a lot about building a product, but after building products for almost 10 years now, I've realized there's this saying by I think Dr. Co-founder or someone that if you have a great product and people don't know about it, it's a useless product. So on day one, we were telling people that, oh, creating the hype, selling it, that this is coming. So from day one, you have to think, how are you going to market this product?
I love it. I love how you bake in sort of growth from day one and thinking about the community product development
Yeah.
process, seeding your customer with this insight, building up the hype. Those are all great learnings. So, tell us a little bit about, maybe give us an overview, and then we can dive into the specific areas how Zeta.io leverages AI to empower, and accelerate the product management process.
Sure. So I have been in product management since 2016 now. So all the way back from recommendation engine, machine learning, fraud prevention. So I knew product that machine learning will help product managers too. I had been doing it for marketing, finance, and so on. If you think product management is basically four pillars, which I say, four steps: discovery, which is what to build; planning, making up once you have identified what problem you are going to solve, then planning it, prioritizing it in the company and stakeholders, then actually building it, which is your user research, PRD, wireframing, sprints, and then launch, where you communicate that, oh, we have launched your GTM, and you look into data and feedback on how it performed, and then you repeat the cycle again. There are definitely overlap between each cycle, but this is there. We uh, leverage AI to help people with the first two part, which is what to build and making a plan out of it. So we take in data from various sources like sales, support, customer success, user research, internet communication, Jira backlog, product analytic, all sort of data, and then we generate inside that what are the potential opportunities and what is going to be the impact of each of them, and then help you prioritize, make a roadmap, Jira tickets, and then ship it out. So it's the entire cycle uh, so that product teams can ship the right product faster and better.
That's awesome. Let's break it down. So the first step you mentioned is product discovery. Um,
Yeah.
so how does Zeta.io help product teams like discover what problem to solve? Where do you use AI? Does the AI use at all in some of this?
Yes, definitely. AI is a core component to it. We take in data from various sources. So there are integrations with your intercom vendors, your Slack and team and email, your HubSpot and Salesforce, your Jira, Notion, and so on. Mixed panel amplitude. So you take in all this data because currently, if you see, product managers are they have data. They want to discover what problems to solve and what impact. But data is so scattered that it becomes a mess to ask data science team, hey, can I get this data? Then you make a sense out of it. We do integration, direct integration with all the tools, and that's centralized at one place. And then we have built machine learning models which go through this and tell you these are the similar requests. These are the similar pain points. These have been asked by this type of customers this many times. This is potential revenue impact. This is potential adoption impact. So we generate insights and give you a summary that, hey, if you solve this problem, what is going to be the impact and for what type of customer, and does it align with your company goal or not?
That's great. So, for folks who are joining us right now, don't forget to introduce yourself in the chat. Drop any question you might have for Prashant. He's with you guys watching the streaming, so make sure you ask him a question, and he will find an opportunity to respond to you directly. So, after you discover a problem, I love the sort of data driven approach, leveraging what AI does the best, which is aggregating a lot of this very scattered data to empower product managers and product builders with a real customer insight synthesized. Now, let's say the next stage is, you mentioned about planning, but also shaping the strategy, right? Where to focus,
Yeah,
how do you create, how do you know what to prioritize, where to go after, what will drive the biggest business outcome? So, in
sure,
what way does setup play a role in helping to assist product managers to make better decisions around product strategy?
sure. So for us, planning encapsulates the strategy and roadmap part. So definitely it's a core part. We help you make goals, initiatives, break it down into features that can be done. Now, there are two parts to it. One, we can you can define your OKRs and goals, uh, and then we can tell you the insights which map to which will help you achieve that goal. All the other part is where you got the insight first, and now you want to translate into a roadmap and Jira ticket and prioritize based on revenue impact, confidence, effort, and impact. So either way, you can start either from the goal or from the insight, and you can prioritize and make a plan out of it. So that is where we use both AI and the frameworks like RISE, Kano, uh, then Kanban board or timeline view, whatever roadmap you want to create. So this whole is automated. And the best part is this is synced to Jira. So I think a lot of product managers uh, waste their time in updating Jira, creating a Jira ticket, then going to PPTs and decks on updating an Excel sheet. We automate that out. So yeah, we help drive the product strategy. And another element to that is what we are launching soon, where you'll be able to see the impact of this particular launch. Because again, you have to complete the cycle. You can't just launch and forget. So, how much business outcome did you actually achieve?
Yeah, I love sort of closing the loop from using data driven approach to discover the problem, to automate some of the processes around planning, setting goals, setting OKR, to actually when it launched, feeding it back, kind of what the outcomes that the particular ramp drive. Now let's talk a little bit about you mentioned like Zeta helps team to define, manage, and collaborate with their product, especially for remote teams. Now we have a lot of hybrid companies that work remotely. What are some features that Zeta offer to kind of help team work more effectively together, especially if they work in a remote/hybrid environment?
So the one thing is, for there are types of people with as a PMI definitely collab. People who are information consumption, which is your sales support, customer success, marketing, design, a lot of time design engineer, and then with whom you work, like other product teams, other product managers, senior, junior PMs, so on. On our platform, one is collaborators are completely free. So you can have view access to entire platform and you will not charge. So that's the best thing which people love us for. But coming to the core part, which is what features do we offer? First is we offer integration with different teams. We have Jira integration, Figma integration, Slack integration, CRM integration, customer support integration, customer success integration. So no one technically need to come to Zeda except product managers. They can continue working on their tool and it can pull in information. So that information scattering, which happen because of current remote environment where different teams are working remotely on their different tool, we help it streamline and centralize. The second part is because we have uh, view access to all the things. Now imagine if you're building a product and you want to share a roadmap. You can create a roadmap and share with the team. And sales team do not need to every time ping you, hey, what is the status? You can They can come and see. Similarly, because we are working with from customer input, engineers are not just working on a Jira ticket. They get that why this ticket exists. What is the goal impact? What is the roadmap impact? What is the customer pain point? What was the insight which drive this? So they can get more context. Uh, so this whole collaboration with the entire ecosystem helps us to collaborate more effectively with other stakeholders, and
That's
especially the product leaders who can have a clear visibility on what is being launched, when, how, what is the impact.
Yeah, I love the visibility across or up and down, the org, to get everybody on the same page. So earlier in this, at the start of our conversation, you mentioned something around, hey, if nobody knows about your product, even if it's great, it's not going to be, not enough. So I wonder, what kind of growth loops do you have to, make sure more people try out Zeta? What are some of the things you're trying?
So the number one thing which we have been doing from day one is working with the community. I mean, I personally would have talked to 2,000, 3,000 product managers, and I'm pretty sure more. Uh, because I still talk every week with 4 to 5 product managers. And trust me, that might not be direct growth loop, but that definitely helps us increase the one, word of mouth, and second, improve the product. The other thing is, which I plan to launch, we don't have it in the product, is a GitHub-like model where Shivi has a great framework for template for writing PRD. Now, currently, you don't have a way to publish it and gain anything from it. But imagine if you could make a PID template because of your experience and you can publish it on Veda. Other people can search PID template, or people can search uh, PID for login flow. So they can, or framework which is used at LinkedIn. So they can search and they can use, and you get a quote or you get recognition for that. So open sourcing product management is another part where you'll be able to, because imagine it, we are reinventing the wheel so many times. There are already solved problems like login flow, checkout flow, or settings page. which don't need to be solved. And PMs don't want to even work on that. But we have a PM assigned for that. If you can find the template, you have such a good experience, and you can share your frameworks, your experiences, your best practices, your PRDs, and other people can discover. So it's like a open sourcing product management, which we are planning soon. Should have it probably next year.
That's awesome. I'm really excited about this idea. Actually, I'm excited about both part of your responses. I wish I have emoticon that I can just give like thumbs up and hearts. I'm sure some of the live streams you probably get that. And folks, make sure you drop in the chat questions you have for Prashant. But just to recap, first, I love the community, approach, right? Like where you talk to 2,000, 3,000 PMs and still continue to talk to them, which get you really, really close to the problem statement, how things are changing, getting basically understanding what's top of mind for product. It helps you with your distribution. It helps you get tight feedback loop. Definitely the hard work, but it's gonna pay off. So I hope anyone who especially are building product or thinking about building product or are currently an entrepreneur, I think this is one of the key lessons they can really learn from you and your sharing. And I also love the open source approach, the community based approach. This remind me of almost like Notion templates or Canva templates, right? When you
Yeah,
go to Canva, it's so beautiful that you have business presentation, outline, business name card. And then
exactly.
similarly for product, like there's a lot of product challenges that people can just leverage best practices or a framework. I think Reforge earlier launched the artifacts, which is of similar
Yeah,
notion of like sharing
exactly.
artifacts that people have done but can be templatized to help improve the process and help us all building better product, help spread best practice within the methodology. All right.
Yep.
So up till now, I think we talk a lot about sort of your journey building Zeta as a product, more from the technical side of like the steps that you take, some of the features and the growth loop. Let's switch focus a little bit to the personal side. Um, I would love to hear about some of the challenges and lessons that you learned along this journey. Everybody heard about, being an entrepreneur is very hard, right? 95% of startups fail in like 5 years, some crazy stats that gets people very nervous about it. But then at the same time, like working on your passion is something that's very exciting. So I just wonder, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face in the past couple of years of building Zeta? And how did you overcome them or make peace with them? What kind of lessons that you learn along the way?
Um, it's I can talk the entire day about it, but I'll keep it short. Uh, so the first thing which I'll say the biggest challenge was on the day one itself, which was deciding to start. I mean, I had I was in India and I was making $100,000, which is a lot of money from Indian standpoint, and it was like I was 27 that time, and uh, my average salary was like twice of normal job description of senior product manager. And it was pandemic. And I had to take a leap of faith that I leave that job to start something which may or may not work and pandemic. And now we know pandemic was short duration, but it was like, oh, what if it lasted longer? So that decision was the toughest decision. And I'm glad I took it. And I had a job opportunity in Japan, Tokyo, by the way. So I had to take the flight next day to Japan, and I am like, I can't take that. So I think when a lot of people who reach out to me, founders, and in the journey, I tell them that it's not going to be easy. You'll have to take a lot of tough calls. That was one. Number two, I realized is you're right. 95% of startups fail, but that 95% startup, you will still survive as a human. So you have to make sure that you never do the wrong thing. Like you can be wrong, you can do mistakes, but you cannot be a wrong person. So that's another thing which I have tried to do. Obviously, we do mistakes, and every founder would have done some mistakes, and I would have done a lot. uh, but never do something wrong intentionally. That is uh, wrong for the customer, for the team, for the investors, for the company. Third thing is you become the face of the company. So, good or bad, you are responsible. So, you cannot blame on anyone else. You market could fuck up, but it's your job to make it survive. So that is another major thing that, and it ties back to the previous point where you have to do the right thing, but sometimes you don't know what is the right thing to do. Because if you knew what are the right things to do, you'll be raising money from the bank and not from investors, and things are it will be safe thing, but it's a startup. It's so volatile, it's so risky. Everyone expects you to do the right thing, and you don't know the right thing, but you are still trying to do the right thing. It's such a uh, stressful thing. And then the other part which I can say I have learned is you have to. I know this is very common where people say your team is very important, but it is. I can say that we had to. Obviously, there were people who were part of Zeda, people who I'm not part of Zeda now, people who are from the beginning part of Zeda. Each and everyone you have been so valuable, like uh, that you learn from them. And you sometimes it's not just the right fit. It's not that the people are not so people a lot of time. I have been laid off by the way from a previous company. So people say that, oh, because you're letting go, they might not be. It's not that. It's just a misfit sometime where two great people couldn't work together. So that happens. Having uh, like another lesson which I can tell is or the biggest challenge on the personal side I have learned is that when you start a startup, so this used to be a joke between me and another founder whom I work together. Uh, when you're working, you have a fuck you card basically in your pocket. If you have 3 to 6 months money in the bank, you can go tomorrow to office and say fuck you, I'm not coming tomorrow. That's it. But when you start a company, you can't. You basically are in it forever, uh, and that's there. And sometimes your personal life situation, your relationship status, or you see a lot of time your other friends going out on trips or doing something different in life, and you're like, oh, I wish I could do that. But now you can't. So you are just gonna, whatever happen, nothing, I don't think anything take precedence over your startup because you people have invested their money, people have trusted their career on that. So uh, and that is a big thing. So you basically are 100% on it. So that's another uh, I I feel is a something I realized that oh, now this is my life. And to the question, how did I overcome? I can say that there's only one way to overcome, which is talk it out to friends, team, and have a very good co-founder. Like if you have a good co-founder, you should definitely have one. You can talk to them. Me and my co-founder probably have a talk every day, like almost every day. So uh, there are goods and bad, but you talk every day, and then uh, that has helped a lot. But it's been a really good journey where we have literally it was my apartment and in my kitchen there used to be a table and we were sitting and we used to make tea and sit down and we are like okay let's try to figure out to now having a team in India, a team in USA, uh, paying customers, uh, having a 2.5 years it's been and we uh, have a like 15,000 people following on LinkedIn and so on. So it's been a great journey for sure, in which we have learned a lot.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I love some of the biggest decision, the toughest part is first taking the leap of faith, right? Like leaving a well-paying job of a security to do something different, something bold. Um, I love the courage that you gave first to take this path, but also to do the right thing, right? Sometimes it's not always easy to do that. You might want a shortcut. You might want to just do the easy thing, but it might or might not be right for the investor, for the employee, for the employers, for the employees, for the market, for your customer. Um, and then being able to make tough decisions when time is tough, but not making it personal, right? Like
Yeah,
you said, like it could be not a good fit, not necessarily means like you're incompetent, or there is reflections of that. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I wanted to switch gear again, sort of coming up on the clock, to talk a little bit more about future vision. Um, let's start with, I know that you also write for the Forbes Council. You're part of Forbes Council member for tech. How do you see the future of product management evolve in today's AI empowered world?
so trust me, it's going to be great and bad. I mean, when I say great, we will. So, if you see right now, AI has already been there in engineering. There are a bunch of tools which help you to write better code or debug. Design, yes. Adobe, Figma have, and Galileo, etc., have made it so good to graphic design, to UX design, to mid journey. So it's getting great. Sales, there are a bunch of tools which help you with calls and CRM automation and uh, writing better emails and support also. Marketing, we already know. Jasper and every tool helps you with social media or email marketing. Product management is not there yet. And it's gonna be there. It's it cannot happen that it won't be there. It's just it will be there. Now, when that happens, there are two things which gonna happen. One, people who really want to innovate, they'll get more time to innovate. Like they'll be uh, having less meetings, less operational work, less time to, they don't need to go update a Jira or Excel sheet or do more meetings. There'll be a tool like Zeda which will help you to answer all those questions and automate all those things. But you'll have more time to actually innovate. And that's the only way how we as a species can progress innovation. Now, when you have time to innovate, you'll actually have to show your product skills. That's going to be bad for a lot of people, where who have been doing, who are in product management field, but they haven't been innovating or solving the problem creatively. They are not talking to customers because now talk you AI cannot talk to customers and tell you what to build. You'll have to talk and understand. You'll have to go at a deeper level. So product management is going to get both easier and harder, where the easier part is going to be the operational part. The harder part is going to be the innovation and core strategic problem solving for the customer, having that empathy, having that customer-centric approach, innovating. Because now every if every solution is generated by AI, then it will be same. There'll be no one will be winning. But how can you do things differently? How can you make, let's say, something wild about checkout experience? The last innovation happened in 1998 when Amazon launched one-click checkout. Imagine, since then, literally the checkout experience is same. But now when uh, you have time, you'll have to think, and only very few PMs who have that skills, the core product sense, they'll be able to thrive or accelerate their career. People who have been doing a lot of project management or product owner work in disguise of product management, they'll have a tough time.
So I think you sort of alluded to this part already. So just a quick recap also, like you emphasize on doing things differently, think differently, differentiating in the world where everyone's using AI, right? So how do you see then at a personal level AI transforming the role of a product manager? I think I also want to discuss this in light of the recent sort of shifts that you see that, Airbnb has sort of abandoned kind of the product management role, make it into product marketing, or Stripe is getting more engineering and product management coming together. So at an individual level, earlier you mentioned about some skills, including like strategy, ideation, but what are some like what is the impact at an individual level for a product manager, and what kind of skills that you think someone should build in order to build a defensible product career?
I think someone actually, I was mentoring someone and they asked me this question that, oh, so much is happening in AI. How can they be on the speed? The first thing is, yes, there are going to be uh, AI replacement. How a lot of uh, graphic design job is being taken by Canva AI or Midjourney and so on. Similarly, a lot of writing work, which was content writer work, is being taken care by Write Sonic and other AI platforms. So product management also, companies will be getting AI, PM Copilot or PM AI Copilot uh, to build the right product faster and better and cheaper. So that is there. PMs are one of the most well paid in the in tech industry. So that is there. So it's gonna come. But you have to develop few skills. One, you need to learn how to work with AI. That need to be a core skill, which is understanding machine learning, prompt engineering, uh, how deep learning work, how uh, ethical AI work. All those core components you need to know. Like learning the technical parts of AI. Second is you should have developed a lot of soft skills, which are having people sense, which is collaboration and stakeholder alignment and talking to customers. Product sense. What is a good product? Like you, what differently can it do? How can you innovate? What is a good product? Uh, what problem does it solve? What are the customer desire? What are the user needs? Uh, so that is going to be another. Third is definitely going to be there will be traditionally PMs used to be MBA folks who understood tech very well. So that like, but trust me, it will go back to the same part where PMs will be people who need to understand the business very well because now you have to tell what is going to be the impact on the business, revenue, your growth, your whatever metric you're talking about, how are you going to impact it? And then these are the core skills which people will need to learn, and cross skills definitely design and marketing. So AI is not going to help replace that.
Absolutely. I love the emphasis on sort of still focusing on creating value and, business impact. Um, and then, learning skills related to that, in addition to basic understanding, I guess, of some level of tech that you can be fluent in how to use those technology. Prashant, we're coming up on time. What would be one parting advice that you wanted to give the audience here?
Um, One, definitely never stop learning. Like no matter what field you are in, never stop learning. And the title of the series is Product Management Learning Series. So that's I just read it on the screen. So never stop learning. Upskill, invest in upskilling yourself. Uh, there are a lot of good newsletters like Shivi and other people which you can do that. Second is going to be that if you're planning to start a startup, start now because a lot of people become in that analysis paralysis mode where they they're never able to take the leap of faith and we lose such a good talent and innovation. It might fail, 95% fail, but it will be the best decision you'll take.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your advice. And thanks, folks, for joining us. Again, if you have questions for Prashant, feel free to leave them in the chat. he might stick around a little bit and answer your questions in the comments. But thank you so much for joining us as we kickstart this new series to learn from AI leaders working on AI products and see, what kind of challenges and opportunities they face, and really learning from them. So I hope you enjoy it, and make sure you subscribe to our event newsletter. In the event details page, you can see recaps of our conversation today with Prashant, as well as future guests. So looking forward to have many of you in future episodes. And thank you again, Prashant, for joining us.
Thank you, Shivi, for doing this. Really appreciate your
All right.
work.
Yeah, thank you.